Hey, aloha everybody from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. If you can see this podcast and are watching it, I've got the sunshine behind me and the golf course in the distance. I also want to thank everybody who is sharing this podcast and commenting and subscribing, because it means a lot to us and your feedback is something that we absolutely value. If you've got an opportunity, please go to mikekai.tv to pick up your copy of the Pound for Pound Principle if you haven't done that yet, or the 16 Courses Masterclass. Also, we just got done with Pound for Pound Asia, and it was incredible. You can get the replay on mikekai.tv, but also we're getting ready for Pound South America. That is going to be fuego. It is going to be on fire, and I'm just playing around, but I honestly say it's going to be on fire. I think Spanish is one of the most beautiful languages in the world. When you hear that language, it sounds like the language of heaven. I'm just being honest. I've heard other languages, French, I don't think so. German, definitely not. But when you hear Spanish, that is a beautiful language. And so we're coming to South America. Pastor Craig Rochelle, Andrea Spiker, Chris Mendez, and Pastor Robert Barriger. It's being run out of Lima, Peru. Also with Pastor Sam Chan, myself, and Lisa. It's gonna be great. So make sure you tell other people about it. More info on mikekai.tv. I had the privilege and honor on part 1 of this podcast with Pastor Roger Archer from Motion Church. You're gonna wanna listen to part 1 after you listen to part 2. It was solid, deep, and a lot of information and great content. So make sure that you get to listen to that. Download that as well. But part 2, get ready for even more. I think part 2 drills down even better than part 1 did. Part 1 was great, but part 2 was next level. So make sure you listen to this. It's going to be incredible. And I look forward to seeing you on the back side of this. Enjoy Pastor Roger Archer from Motion Church. What advice would you give to leaders who are out there right now who feel stuck, feel like they've been hit their lid in capacity or effectiveness? What would you tell them?
You and I both know the answer to this, because it's something that you and I have benefited from for years.
Right.
You have to find an affinity group of people. You cannot do life alone. You cannot do ministry by yourself. You must. It is absolutely quintessential. It is life and breath. It is oxygen to your soul to find a tribe or a small group and begin to develop. And some people will say like, well, I don't know anybody. Well, if you want to have friends, be a friend. Right. Reach out, initiate, inaugurate those friendships, because those, like this friendship, I mean, here's what's funny. You look at Mike and I, you would think like we talk sugary sweet, but we
talk smack too.
We've bumped heads, we've clashed, we're friends. I think if you have friends and if you've not really engaged, you're not really a friend.
Oh no.
Right? So you just need
iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpening iron.
Sparks fly.
You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, here's what I know: you love me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know I love you.
I know it.
And so if you don't have that, if you don't start developing that, you will be an island. And I think it was John Donne, the 16th century poet, that said, "No man is an island unto himself." I think that was him. And really, he was really speaking on the behalf of the Holy Spirit, because we need to be part of a landmass.
Yeah.
And if we're an island, now we're here in Hawaii, you guys get islands here uniquely, but people cannot be islands.
Yeah.
We have to be a continent, and you have to do that, because this thing called the kingdom of God is not an organization, it's an organism. It's living and breathing, and you've got to be connected with people.
Raj, I love it. When I think about this, there's the fewest number of people that are listening to this are senior pastors, okay? Because they're just less of them, but they're more location and campus pastors, and there are probably more business leaders that are listening to this. But what would you say to the location pastors? Because they think that, in my opinion, they're thinking, oh, my pastor's got it. He's got the relationships. I don't build those. I build them in my team or whatever. I might not have that. What would you say to that guy, a location pastor that probably will never be a senior pastor?
Yeah.
Is a campus guy, killing it where he's at, or is stuck or needs to grow. What would you tell them about that affinity?
Yeah, I would say lather, rinse, repeat. I think it's the exact same, whether you are selling commodities on Wall Street, whether you are on Main Street, Wall Street, or the papacy in Rome. you have to have friends.
Yeah.
So if you're a campus person or a support staff person, if you're in ministry or if you're in business,
Right.
you've got to have those alliances that keep you. Here's what you are to me. Mike Kai to Roger Archer is a godly guardrail. They're a godly guardrail.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because there are 4 dimensions of vision. The first dimension of vision makes a dogmatic statement. Life is, I am, things are the way I see it. I'm an expert on my own opinion. If I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. We know those people.
Yeah, yeah.
Second dimensional vision asks a passive interrogative. It asks, I wonder if life is, things are, I am the way I see it. Third dimensional vision is, okay, how do you see life? How do you see it? How do you see me? And then the fourth dimension is, how does God see life? How does God see me? So the more dimensional our vision comes, the more stable we become. And most people, quite honestly, never get past second dimensional vision, and they stay locked into this insecurity and volatility because they've not been willing to look in the mirror, make the assessments, and change.
Roger, that's brilliant. I'm thinking of 2 other things that you say that not even part of what I'm going to ask you, but I want to ask you this question. Tell us, or I want you to expound on this. Tell us about the parable of the inverted talents in Matthew chapter 25.
Yeah, parable of the inverted talents is when people take all the money and the wealth from people that are producing and give it to people that don't produce, and then they lose it and bury it.
Right.
And there's a lot of craziness in the kingdom of the world that lives with the parable of the inverted talents, because Jesus talked about the parable of the talents, right? One guy got 5 bags of gold, one guy got 2 bags of gold, one guy got 1 bag of gold.
Right, and everybody else, most people would look at that and say, there's something wrong, that's not fair.
Not fair.
That's not fair.
But the Bible is
We should all
socialistic.
get 7.5 talents together.
The Bible's not a socialistic
No,
book.
it's not.
It's not.
It's kingdom.
It's kingdom stuff. And so it just makes sense, right? If you're working for E.F. Hutton, you want to give your money to a hedge fund that's going to make you more money.
Right.
You're not going to take that money and give it to somebody like on the street and say,
Charles Schwab today, not E.F. Hutton.
yeah, Charles Schwab.
But listen to this. Think of this. So everybody thinks that we should all be getting them up, but we don't.
Mm-mm.
We just don't.
Nope.
You have 5 talent people, and we know them. They are the Elon Musks. They are the Jeff Bezoses. They are Howard Schultz. They are Jerry Jones, right? Those are people, we're not brought into silver spoon situations. They had 5 talents. Wayne Cordero, right? We always talk about him.
Right.
Then you have people who have born with 1 talent, but with 2 talent potential.
Right.
Or people with 2 talents and 5 talent potential. So you were probably, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say you were a 1 talent person with 2 talent potential at the time.
At the time.
Because knowing that you grew up in a trailer park, knowing that you grew up in a bar, and you were tending bar in Idaho for your dad when you were 12, 13, 14, 15. You learned to play the keys in your dad's bar. You saw somebody shot. And some other horrific things have happened to you in your life.
Right.
But now you're at the lowest, you're at 5. But we all know that the guy who had 5 had 10. But most people say, well, poor Roger Archer should have gotten some government, or whatever, right?
Right.
Not just assistance, but
do it.
Equality.
Do it for me. Yeah, make it all
right.
even.
Make it happen for me.
No, man, that's not, I mean, that would, I think that kind of thinking really, really is demeaning to the creator.
Right. Or to the person as well.
Or to the person as well.
Because we're made in the image of God.
Right? So here you are. We don't think that God can do for you what God says he will do for you. So we're going to enable you because we don't think you can ever ascend.
Right.
That's demeaning.
Right.
It's insulting.
Yeah.
God and the person.
Right.
So, God takes nobodies.
So the parable, continue while I accidentally cut you off just to make a point, but go ahead.
Yeah. So
instead of being the parable of the talents, it's inverted.
It's inverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the welfare. I mean, I think that we should care for orphans and widows.
100%.
100%. We give money. We give so much money to help people that can't help. Because
there's so many people that need it right now.
People that can't help themselves, they need help.
Right.
Right? But that help is not an ongoing, I'm going to give you a fish so you eat for a day. I want to teach you to fish so you can eat for a lifetime and self-feed.
Mm-hmm.
And That's why we pastors exist. We don't exist for you to bring us into our promised land. We exist to bring you into yours. But you have to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to have that hustle. You got to have that grind. You got to be willing to put the work in, because the separation's in the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the people that have more is because no one will know the story. I know the sacrifices you made that you've never told or wrote about. You paid prices, man. You've given blood, and no one will know because you're not going to talk about it. Same with me. Same with anybody else who's ever ascended. Sacrifice, grind, hustle, hard work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's things that we won't talk about. We just talk about amongst ourselves.
Yep.
Maybe our kids will know.
Our close friends.
Our closest friends and our wives.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's almost like, it would be like, nah.
It'd be a little bit self-serving.
It would be. It could be taken that way.
It would come off as almost glib.
Yeah.
And that's why I will never in the mass sense do that.
Yeah.
But I would encourage other leaders, you want to ascend, pay the price. Grind. Hey, here you go.
Get that holy hustle.
Get a holy hustle on.
Get a holy hustle in your life.
Read a book or 2 or 10. Right?
Talk about hustle. I mean, this is a guy that went door to door 3 years ago to 3,500 households in his community to introduce himself and say, won't you come to my church if you don't have a church?
And the reason why is because
3 years ago.
We plateaued.
20 years into the journey because you got stuck.
I was mad. I was angry. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I'm done being stuck.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Pastor Roger. I pastor a church. Would you like to come? and we've picked up countless people who gave their heart to Christ. And then I met people that go to our church. Pastor, what are you doing in my house?
That's amazing. That's amazing. I don't know a lot of people that would do that in year 20.
In year 20.
I know people who do that in year 1.
Hungry, yeah.
In year 1 when they got that hunger.
Yeah.
But not in year 20. But year 20, you hit a plateau.
Yeah. I was frustrated.
And
fix it.
And not just, it was tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just talked about it next door. I mean, right in our lounge, not by might, not by power, but by my spirit. Yeah. I like to say it. It's not, I'm going to try it with all my might. Might not work. I'm going to use all my power and influence. That might not work. I'm going to trust the Spirit finally, and maybe God will take all my power, all my might, and by His Spirit make it what it should be, what it could be.
Totally right.
I love that.
Totally right.
You know what I love about you? Is you grind, bro. Oh. I mean, like you get after it.
I will grind.
Sometimes I got to pull you back. Sometimes I said, Raj, take a break. Raj, take a break. Slow it down. Have a Snickers.
Yeah, because I think that when you look at people that have ascended to levels of I hate using the term success because it's so subjective.
Right.
But the dark, deep waters, the painful, hurtful things, the discouragement and the despair, it looks like it never hits us. It looks like we're immune, like we don't get hit. But we get hit. It just doesn't get to define us.
It's stuff we don't talk about.
It's the stuff we don't talk about.
Yeah.
But it won't define me, nor will it define you, because we know that God works. It's amazing. Cookies. I love eating cookies, which is why I need to go on a diet.
I love cookies.
But I don't know how to cook like you. You're great in the kitchen.
Not as good as Evan.
Not as good as Evan Carmichael. I don't think anybody's good as
Evan. Evan, we're shouting your name out
Shouting
here.
him out.
On the Pound for Pound.
At Rise
Leadership
Church.
Podcast. Thousands of people. Evan Carmichael from Arise Church, Hilo.
There he
Great
is.
cook.
But what I found out was one of the key ingredients in cookies
baking powder.
Is salt.
And salt.
Salt. I mean, you would never take a salt shaker and put that on a chocolate chip cookie.
No.
That would be disgusting.
No.
But if you don't have salt in the dough when you're kneading it together, it will not come out of the oven tasting like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when we have salty things that happen in our life, we just get salty because of the salty. And God is saying, no. You need that salt to help you become the sweet savor and aroma that I've intended you to be.
That's good, Raj. That's really good.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. So that shirt, where'd you get that from?
Urban Outfitters.
Really? Here in Waikiki?
In Waikiki.
That's awesome.
I'm investing in the local economy. I spent $700.
Yeah, $700.
Today.
On gifts.
On gifts. Yeah, for people.
Awesome. No,
Blessing
you're the
people.
best.
Yeah.
Because That's a $700 shirt?
No.
I was
This
gonna
is
say,
a
get your money back, bro.
$49.
Get your money back.
$49.
No, that's a great shirt for $49. I like that shirt.
It's on sale. And they love seeing me.
Yeah.
Hello, customer.
Yeah,
Come in, spend your money.
Before that, anyway, and that's terrible customer service all over. How do you feel about customer service today? I mean, because I got something to say. I know there are companies that train their guys really, really well.
Yeah.
But do you still feel like you walk into a shop, whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a clothing store or electronics place, and you still feel like this?
I'm lucky to be there.
Yeah.
You're just lucky to be my store.
Right. It's just it drives me nuts. It's like I walk in and they're normally they're not my age who act like that. It's they're younger. I'm not hating on younger people. Don't turn me off. All of a sudden get all offended. I'm not. I'm just saying it seems like this like automatic tip system.
Yeah.
It's an automatic entitled tipping system where I grew up in restaurants.
Right.
And you better earn your 15%.
Right.
Because you are already getting something, right?
Right.
And then you're going, if you want to be extra good, you throw on 20%.
Yeah.
But now it's automatic. Click which one for a tip. And I'm a tipper.
Yeah.
I'm a big tipper.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a big tipper. I tip, but it just gets under my skin that you really haven't earned this yet.
Yeah. There's a as society does what society does, there are generations that morph and adapt to the mores, right? The social mores that come with society, there's a morphing with the society as a whole.
Right.
And so it's not really an indictment upon probably, I think, a number of an age of a person, as much as it is the culture and the society in which they are developing within. And I think that there is just a spirit of entitlement where people feel like something is due them. Mm. And I think that is sinister and sublime. Again, we know this, that people aren't the enemy is the enemy. And if the enemy can make someone feel like, hey, something is due me, they're not going to hustle.
That's Gehazi.
Yeah.
It's the spirit of Gehazi.
Yeah.
Goes all the way back to 2 Kings chapter 6, chapter 10.
Yep. Nothing new.
And Gehazi wanted something from Naaman. Elisha, the prophet, said, I'm taking none of your gold. Thank you very much. Your healing was for free.
Yep.
Go back and worship God. And then Gehazi runs back and says to him, my servant says...
Change his mind.
Yeah, he changed his mind. There's some prophets have come down in training and they would like some clothing and 2 bags of silver.
Right.
He goes, please take 5.
Right.
And he takes them all and he hides it in his...
Right.
And Elisha asks him, so where have you been? Oh, nowhere, but sweat pouring down his forehead.
Right.
He goes, I've been nowhere. He goes, didn't my spirit go with you when you saw General Naaman? That is, read your mail scary. But it's that spirit of Gehazi I deserve.
Yep.
So if you don't give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Do you know, I try to coach my leaders in think, because I don't want to tell anybody what to think ever. Because I just think people are just so bright. But I do want to teach people how to think.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I will have these maxims or colloquialisms or sayings that I will use when I'm training my leaders with this topic. And so here's what I'll tell them. Guys, if you think like this, you will always feel fulfilled. You will always feel like you've never been taken advantage of. You will always feel like you're on top and not beneath. Right. You're not the tail, you're the head. If you think like this, nothing I have belongs to me. It all belongs to God, and I'm just watching his stuff. If I am free from thinking that anything I have belongs to me, right? My car, my clothes, my house, my wife, my children, my job. If I take the pronoun my, change it to his, nothing I have belongs to me. It all belongs to him, and I'm just watching his stuff. Then I become a steward of his stuff. And if it's God's stuff, I'm going to take great care of it. And so when I think like that, I'm never going to be a doormat. I'm never going to be entitled. I'm never going to think I'm deserving. I'm never going to think I'm entitled at all. I'm going to think like, well, that's all yours anyway. And if you want to give me something, thank you.
So good.
And my heart is always grateful. I'm grateful for the little things, the little and few things. Mm-hmm. not the opulent windfall. I'm thankful for the little and few things. I'm always careful to say thank you. I just want to be appreciative and grateful, because I realize that that's something that God, not even a person, but God has given to me.
Yeah.
To steward for him.
Very good. So talk to us about the way, the hierarchy of decision-making.
Decision-making.
Right. So you have one.
Yeah, I have one.
I've borrowed it.
I have one. I told my children when they were little, no joke, you guys that are producing, I told them this. I said, if you make good decisions as my children, you will lose your allowance, you will be grounded, and you will be punished if you make good decisions. And my children like bat their eyes like, wait a minute, my teacher said to make good choices. No. Well, yes, if it's just good and bad.
Right.
If your metrics of measurement is just good and bad, make good choices. But there's a higher calling as followers of Christ between good and bad. So let's start at the bottom. And you consider it a stair step. Decisions come in 4 categories, not 2, 4. Poor, good, better, best. And what so many people do is they settle for a good choice, which is one step away from a poor one. But the way to succeed and ascend is you hook together best decisions, right? Yeah, all my friends are smoking weed. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick no. Hey, if you don't smoke this weed, you can't hang with us. Yeah, I'd rather have nobody than the wrong somebody. Best decision, right? Best decision. Yeah. You start hooking those best decisions together, all of a sudden you look around, you have wealth, you have respect, you have a great reputation, you have a great name. Proverbs says there's nothing better than a great name.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So, but where many of us get locked in is that better decision. The better decision. When it comes to debt, when it comes to friendship circles, when it comes to choices in recreation, we settle on the better decision rather than waiting and contending for the best decision. Now, I'm not even sure if that's possible over the course of a lifetime, best only. Mm-hmm. But if we don't set the bar at best, we're never going to reach best. If we set the bar at better, we'll hit good. If we set the bar at good, we're going to hit poor. If we set the bar at best, we're going to have a hybrid of best and better. So that's kind of the way I think about that.
I love that. There's a lot of depth of information in the parable of the inverted talents on decision-making and the hierarchy of decision-making. I got one last question.
Yeah.
What have you been reading lately that you've found so fascinating and interesting? Where you've been listening to, who you've been listening to, or what have you been using to sharpen yourself?
Yeah, so I'm reading this book right now called The Agile Church. And it was written about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a prophetic book.
Really?
Yeah. So the author is talking about what it's going to look like to be nimble as a church in the 21st century. And man, if we've ever needed to know how to be nimble, it's now. Because people with heavy feet are just going to walk at a snail's pace. But people that are nimble, they're going to harvest, adjust, move on, and they're going to grow and build the kingdom. Right. I think Jürgen Matthesius is one of those nimble guys. I think Chris Hodges is one of those nimble guys. Mm-hmm. You know, so I listen to his podcasts a lot. Christine Kane is one of those nimble girls. I'm listening to her because you need to be selective of the voices that you let into your head.
You only have so much time.
Yeah. But you also need to put voices in your head.
Yeah.
Some people go like, I'm hearing voices, then when we commit them.
Yeah.
But some people have no voices. Right. You have your own voice. That's scary.
Yeah.
If you're not reading books, if you're not listening to podcasts, if you're not being around other people and listening to what the winds of the Spirit, finding the commonality. Yeah. Because I promise you this, there's a commonality of the wind of the Spirit with people that are locked in. And if you will lock in and follow those people, and then take the pearl. You don't got to take the whole concept. Find the pearl. You find the pearl, and now all of a sudden you have a pearl necklace. It's worth a lot.
Roger, it's been awesome.
Good to be with you, bro.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. I really appreciate it very, very much. Love your wisdom, your depth, your insight. It's been awesome.
We'll do it for a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you really enjoyed that podcast, that interview with Pastor Roger Archer. It was incredible. It's such great content. Hey, listen, also, I'm just completed writing my third book, and I'm excited about it. It took 4 months to write. It's taken even longer to name. I'm not even sure what the name is, but hopefully by the time you're listening to the podcast, I have definitely nailed down the name of this book. And the name of this book will be about excellence and how excellence accelerates everything. It's all about customer service. It's about creative adaptation and ideation and everything that we needed to do to stay nimble in 2020 and for the rest of the year and 2021. And I even believe beyond. And it's about how excellence accelerates everything. If you want to take your leadership to the next level, and honestly, if you look at other people and you go, how come they got that, what I ain't got? Why does their church grow and my church isn't growing? Why are we stuck? I'm telling you right now, you need to get this book. I'm going to do the audiobook right away. The book is already written, but I have not yet nailed down the title. It's harder than anything I've ever done lately in nailing down the name for this title. But I'll tell you what, anything that takes this long is going to be that good. If you haven't yet done so, pick up my book, The Pound for Pound Principle, at my website, along with other great leader resources like the Masterclass digital course that has 16 sessions of leadership content. It's all fresh, and make sure you get that as well. So thank you again for joining me on the Pound for Pound Leader Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay aloha.